While offshore I can see the lamp in your hand, beckoning me. I said I need a safe place to land. Mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. Mile offshore, it looks like 73. So little has changed, this one pub village I see. The windows glisten, the hills are green. I hear your voice calling out to me. From here we both could be 17 again. I hear your mother and father are gone. They say I'm not the type you can depend upon. Looking in from this line of sight, I can only say your mother and father were right. Hi, Linda. While offshore, the dolphins dance by my hull, circling me to the lilting song of the gulls. I know that's what I've been sailing toward. If I tie down, you can climb aboard. For a little dance, it's a sweet reward to ourselves. From my long, clear history of selfish deeds, I come home with only apologies. There's no blame if you turn your back. To hell with that, you're out there waiting for me. While offshore, I can see the lamp in your hand, beckoning me. I said I need a safe place to land. A mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. Mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. Mile offshore, I can see the lamp in your hands. Oh, 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 oh. Mile offshore, guess I need a safe place to land. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Mile offshore, oh, oh, oh. Mile offshore, oh, oh, oh. Mile offshore, oh, oh, oh. Hey, Randy. Mile Offshore, my opening song. Off the album by the same name, Mile Offshore. I noticed today, you know, the album's been streaming now for a month. Over a month, I guess. Just a month. A couple of weeks. I don't know how long it's been streaming. About a month and a half, I guess. I probably had like 12 people actually stream songs from it, but there were a couple today, actually. I think that one was streamed by some guy in Germany, and there was somebody in Turin, Italy, that streamed. There was a little ballad off that CD. I can't remember the name of it now, but some guy in Germany. So I should know the name of it. I've got it memorized. But guy in Italy streamed it, and they give you all these statistics and everything about it. And it turns out he got it off a playlist. He got it off a playlist, and so some of my songs are on somebody's playlist somewhere. You know, they tell you that if you want people to listen to your songs, you got to get them on playlists, I guess. And you know, you buy these source lists of all people that have playlists, and you try to get them to put your songs on a playlist. Well, apparently, Don't Put the Idea in My Head. That's the name of the song that the guy in Italy was listening to, and he got it off a playlist. Anyway. Today, as it was last week and the week before, this is a live stream for those left behind. These are the tunes that didn't make it into my 9-hour New Year's Eve extravaganza. And as I put in my post today, it doesn't mean that they're my bad songs. They're not the dregs. I don't play the best songs first and work back. I play the newest songs first and work back. And I've got some good ones. I hope that are older songs. Now, hi Terry, how you doing? How you doing? And today it just so happens that most of the songs I'll be playing, if not all of them, are songs that I played for my 50th anniversary show at the Des Moines Playhouse. That was 16 years ago. Now you guys, if you can do the math, you know how old I am now. But I played these songs 16 years ago at the Des Moines Playhouse for my 50th birthday show there. And the first one is kind of like the opening song I wrote for that. And I played it, and then I did a 60th birthday show at the Playhouse 10 years later. And so I rewrote it a little bit for the 60th birthday show. Anyway, long story short, I dropped out of school about 19, waiting for all the producers to come and to enter the world of a rock and roll legend. Now 40 years later, it hasn't begun, but now all of a sudden I'm 60. I haven't gotten there now. No thanks, I could fill in the blanks myself as I look at my homies, and baby, they're all winding down. All of my rock and roll heroes, I've been catching them out at the track, playing their oldies to silver-haired groupies, the hits of the 70s, they're coming back, but now all of a sudden I'm 60. I haven't gotten there now. No thanks, I could fill in the blanks myself as I look at my homies, and baby, they're all winding down. When the hair on my head grows back long, dark, and wavy, whoa, ho, 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 and I finally get rid of these 10 extra pounds, whoa, ho, 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 and I'm playing these tunes in a big-time arena, I'll be so glad that I never let down, but now all of a sudden I'm 60. I haven't gotten there now. No thanks, I could fill in the blanks myself as I look at my homies, and all of a sudden I'm 60. I haven't gotten there now. No thanks, I could fill in the blanks myself as I look at my homies, and baby, they're all winding down. All of a sudden, I'm 60. Oh, to be 60 again. Whoa, how long ago was that? 6 years ago, wrote that song. I wrote that when I was 50. 16 years ago. Think back, 16 years. How long ago was that? Jeez. So, well, I was 50, so just 2006, you know. Anyway, we didn't even have Obama yet. So, I went from that one, and then this one, I probably selected this one to play that day because it was in the Playhouse. This is a song that derives from my final incursion into the Des Moines Playhouse as an actor. You know, I was very last week I had the Amadeus sweatshirt on. That was my first at the Des Moines Playhouse, actually, playing Kapellmeister Bono. Not the guy from U2, but the old man that Salieri takes over for in Amadeus. In the movie, you don't even see him. In the play, you get to see him. I don't have any lines, but you get to see me quite a bit during the show. After that, I was in To Kill a Mockingbird. I was in Inherit the Wind. Long story about a play I didn't get into, which I won't burden you with now. I was in Music Man. Long stories about music, a lot of stories about Music Man. And then I got recruited for Tony and Tina's Wedding, and I was in Tony and Tina's Wedding, and it was my biggest role. A lot of speaking. It's improv. It's improv, and I was in it for 6 years. I was up until the time I got fired. I was the one guy that was in every show from the time they started doing it back in 1997 until I got fired. And I got fired because I was really the love interest for the bride. I was the bride's ex-girlfriend. That would be interesting. But I had a beard. But the bride's ex-boyfriend that shows up and tries to steal her back, and he shows up inebriated and becomes more inebriated. For years after that, it's pretty much stopped now though, but for years after that, I could be walking the skywalks of Des Moines or something, and people come up to me and they're like, they're looking at me, and the look was always like, I know you from somewhere, and I don't know where, but I just know I don't like you. And it was because of Tony and Tina's wedding. I was famous for a while because of Tony and Tina's wedding. Anyway, never loved being on a stage outside of playing music anywhere close to the way I loved being on the stage for Tony and Tina's wedding. It was so much fun, and everybody that was in the show the first season we did it, our hearts were broken when the run ended. It was like, we're never going to have that kind of fun again doing anything. And then they brought us back for a second year, and all of a sudden, wow, we get to go back and do it again for another season. And as I say, they kept doing it a few seasons after I got done doing it. But second season, it was wonderful again the whole time. The director, John Vyers, was getting married while the second run was going on. So because Tony and Tina's wedding is a wedding, what John and his wife Cheryl, a beautiful, wonderful person, they decided to do, I didn't say that about John, I said it about Cheryl, what they decided to do was to make Tony and Tina's wedding their wedding reception. So on the last day of the run, we had two shows scheduled. We had a regular show, and then we had the second show, which was John and Cheryl's wedding reception. And so we went through the whole, and I got tickets for my parents for the first one. They hadn't seen it yet. And then, as always happens in my life, the show always was like the end of February and the first week of March. And we got down to the last Sunday of the show, which was like March 9th, my mother's birthday. We got a hellacious blizzard that day. Nobody out in the road or anything. And of course, so we canceled the show, that my mom and dad were going to. I had tickets and everything. But of course, we aren't going to cancel John and Cheryl's wedding reception. So we all had to show up for that and do a show for John and Cheryl's wedding reception. Anyway, it ended, and we struck the set and everything that night. I always, whenever I do a show, and that was it for me. It's been 20 years since that run ended, but whenever a show ends, I always took the day off afterwards to kind of decompress. It's always kind of a low point for me when a show ends, So I was home, and it was a blizzard. We had the blizzard the day of the show. So the next day I'm home alone, nothing to do, trapped in the house. And I started thinking about my character, Michael. What kind of a song would Michael write? Would Michael write the day after going to his woman's wedding, And this came out. And so this is it's called Michael's Song. Seeing clear for the very first time in a dog's age, I hate what I find. I did not set out to self-destruct, but here I am, making excuses again. Yes, I'm making excuses again. I don't know the answer yet. Did the goddamn bottle steal my happiness? Or did the bottle fill the hole she left? The story doesn't end. The specter of her yesterday in her white dress just inches away, dancing in the steady arms of another man, making excuses again. Yes, I'm making excuses again. I burn because I can't explain. If I was drinking, I would feel no pain. But I can't keep running when the moment comes to pay for what I've done. I don't know the answer yet. Did the goddamn bottle steal my happiness? Or did the bottle fill the hole she left? The story doesn't end. Michael's song from Tony and Tina's wedding. I was going to say the reason I got fired from that show, 6 years, I was going through kind of a metamorphosis in my life at that point in time. When I started in 1997, so I was 31 years old when I started, 41 years old when I started this. I'm supposed to be the bride's boyfriend, and everything, which kind of strained credibility a little bit. And then as the 6 years wore on, I started, I get big. I was getting big. I was gaining weight. I gained a lot of weight. 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. I got big. And my hair was turning white. And John was saying, that's just a little bit too kinky, you're the bride's boyfriend. And thank you, Randy. And you're a big, heavy-set guy with white hair. And for one season, I dyed my hair back to its kind of reddish-brown color that it was. And I couldn't do nothing about the weight. And the weight was a real problem, too, because, there was a lot of physical contact between myself and the other brides, in the wedding party. A lot of wrestling and stuff like that. And my part in it ends when they just carry me out and throw me out the back door of the playhouse, which is the church, basically. And there wasn't anybody strong enough to lift me in the end. The day of that blizzard in Cheryl and John's wedding reception, they carried me all the way outside and threw me in a snowbank. And I have no shirt on at that point in time, which, at that stage in the second season was not a problem. If they would have done that, if I would have no shirt on in the sixth season, it would have been pretty awful to watch that because I had put the weight on by that point. Anyway, that's one. The next one that I played at that show was, this one. I'm not going to tell the big long story about when the day that I was supposed to meet John Lennon and play this song, but I can say that of all the songs that I've written, since in the 50 years now, it's 50 years this year since I wrote my first song, this is the oldest one that I still play. And hi, Fred. And I was playing for 3 years before I wrote this one, which tells you if anybody thinks I'm a natural songwriter or natural anything, fact of the matter is I had written close to at least 400 and some songs before I finally wrote one that I could keep. This is it. This is from June of 1975. I wrote it in the guardhouse of the Massey Ferguson plant in Des Moines, and this is a song I would have played for John Lennon if he would have showed up. Lord, ain't there no way I can get on a bus and take these blues to someplace I can do something for them back where I was given them. Mother blues, don't you love your son? blues, don't you love your son? You gotta help me run. Don't you love your son? Mother blues, don't you love your son? It had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. Now don't you tell me I've been doing you wrong. I've been obedient to all your whims, your brutal desires. You can't say I've cheated you. Mother blues, I'll be just like you. Mother blues, I'll be just like you. Well, I'll be just like you. I'll be brutal too. Mother blues, I'll be just like you. It had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. It had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. All that I needed was a ticket for home to find out all the pleasures I missed in this unfriendly city. Now I'll take one anywhere. Mother blues, you mean you've just begun? Mother blues, you mean you've just begun? Tell me what I've done. Don't you love your son? Mother blues, don't you love your son? It had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. Well, it had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run, help me run. Mother Blues, Don't You Love Your Son, the oldest song I wrote that I still play, June 1975. If Fred's still listening, back in the days in 1976 when we used to jam at Steve Wilkinson's house, of all my songs, that's probably the one that we may have jammed on, actually. Probably didn't sound like that as much back then, but that's the way I wanted it to sound when I wrote it, but it took quite a while for me to do it. I actually have a kind of a CD I made, and I've got it somewhere, called The Evolution of Mother Blues. And it's all the recordings I had made of that song up until about 10 years ago. And how it's kind of, if you heard what it sounded like in that recording session back in September of 1975 at Larium Studios, and listened to the way it sounds. And in 40 years ago today, my CD that I did in 2015, where I took all the songs that were on that demo I recorded in 1975, and I re-recorded them how I'd like them to sound today. And I start each one of them with just about 10 seconds of the way it sounded in 1975, and then morph into the way it sounds now. But anyway, Mother Blues, Don't You Love Your Son. The next one that I played in my 50th birthday show at the Playhouse, which I will not play today, is the other side. the other side of your heart, which is really if I have anything approaching a success, that was it, because it was published and recorded by another artist, and it did get some airplay in Florida and Texas before it died a natural death, but I can't. It was published, and it's licensed to BMI, and I don't play any licensed material, even if it's stuff that I wrote. A lot of people I've been watching they're playing songs on the social media and everything. They start off by saying, I don't have the rights. I'm telling you right now, I don't have the rights to this song. I don't know why they do that, because that's just like pleading guilty, before you even commit the crime. But people get away with it because they don't get caught when they play licensed material. But you can't on Facebook and everything, and they don't really enforce it that much. But I don't play any licensed material, so I don't play The Other Side of Your Heart, the song I wrote on January 1st, 1978. I might play it in a bar that has, if I ever do bars again, a bar that has the BMI sticker, showing that they paid their dues, or farmer's market or someplace like that. So speaking of farmer's market, going to the next song, I bet it's been 15 years. I was playing at the farmer's market one day, and I used to play right across from that Farm Boys burrito place, and boy, they're a popular place. The Farm Boys breakfast place, lines going all. I always say thank you for coming for my show. While you're watching me buy a burrito and everything. But I get a lot of people when I was playing across from them. And a lot of times they send mom up to buy the burritos, and then the dad and the kids just sit down by me. And that's the way it was one day. I was playing by the curb of the Kirkwood Hotel right across from the Farm Boys burrito place. And this father and three boys were down there waiting for mom to bring the food. And this little boy, all of a sudden, I got done playing a song. I could feel somebody tugging on my shirt. And it's like, what are you tugging on my shirt for? He's a little boy. He goes, play the song about the flood. How do you know about the song about the flood? I mean, how do you even know about the flood? The flood was 1993, and even then, that was by then, that was 20 years ago. I mean, now the flood is it'll be 30 years in 2023. But how do you know about the flood? And the kid goes, I like the song about the flood. So I played the song about the 1993 flood. And a few years later, I was playing there, and some teenager comes up to me, and he goes, play the song about the flood. And it was the same kid. He'd gotten bigger, and he still wanted to hear the song about the flood. Anyway, everybody's had a flood, of course. I'm sure they have floods in England and everything. But our big one in Des Moines was 1993. Wiped out everything, shut down the water plant, the Des Moines water plant. So I was taking my showers in the downpours that we were getting, the rain, and then I was going down to Easter Lake getting water for the toilet and stuff like that. And people were bought all the water off the shelves, and we had desalinization plants, and the National Guard was setting up and everything. And so we had no water, and so I blew out the pilot light on my water heater so the house wouldn't blow up. And then 2 weeks went by, and on Friday of the second week, almost exactly 2 weeks, we get the news that the water is ready to flow again, and we're turning the water back on for Des Moines. So I wasn't going to light the pilot light myself. I wasn't going to blow up the neighborhood. So I called the power company. They came out, and they lit my power light. And they did it for a lot of people. And so I took Friday afternoon off to light the pilot light and everything, end of the flood finally, and they were gone, and then I sat down and I wrote this song. They say the river's coming in through the door tonight. Save me a place on the sandbag line. I got these gloves, I've got 9 pairs. I'm not afraid of getting dirt in my nails. I got the morning off of work today. I ate my breakfast, I'm well on my way. I've been waiting for the perfect time. Save me a place on the sandbag line. They say the river's coming in through the door tonight. Thank you, Randy. Thank me a place on the sandbag line. The sandbag line, the sandbag line. 6,000 people on the sandbag line, the sandbag line. Thank you, Linda. Oh, save me a place on the sandbag line. I see gloves, hats, and shoes of nearly every kind, working side by side on the sandbag line. See long-legged co-eds with their perfect hands, holding up burlap for a fireman. I hear the river's gonna crest today. I think this levee's gonna stay. I see cooks, cops, and lawyers working side by side, trying to make a dent on the sandbag line. 800 people in the dead of night, working side by side on the sandbag line. The sandbag line, the sandbag line. 6,000 people on the sandbag line. The sandbag line, the sandbag line. Save me a place on the sandbag line. I see TV cameras everywhere. Good Lord, it's been Sunday since I washed my hair. We're all in the same boat, don't you see? They stream out from I don't know where, an army of uniforms and volunteers, as far as the naked eye can see. And that goal line stand on Railroad Street will always stay with me. Oh, oh, always stay with me. Oh, oh. Yes, that goal line stand on Railroad Street with the water at their knees. They say the river's coming in through the door tonight. Save me a place on the sandbag line. I got these gloves, I've got 9 pails. I'm not afraid of getting dirt in my nails. I got the morning off of work today. I ate my breakfast, I'm well on my way. I've been waiting for the perfect time. Save me a place on the sandbag line. They say the river's coming in through the door tonight. Save me a place on the sandbag line. The sandbag line, the sandbag line. 6,000 people on the sandbag line. The sandbag line, the sandbag line. Save me a place on the sandbag line. Wow, ho, 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 the sandbag line. Wow, ho, 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 the sandbag line. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. Play me the song about the flood. Some kid at the Des Moines Farmers Market. Play me the song about the flood. Here's another farmers market story. A few years back, I was playing at the farmers market, and you never know who's going to walk by. I mean, never know who's going to walk by at the farm. Randy will tell you that. Everybody you've ever met, all your friends and everything, plus celebrities. And I was playing there one morning a few years back, and who walks by but the oldest governor in the history of the United States. Not the oldest, the longest serving governor in the history of the United States. To this point, he still is. And so I thought, and I think I might have been playing that song actually when he was approaching me. I thought, well, the longest serving governor in the history of the United States is going to want to hear this song. And so I called him over. I said, "Governor, come over." And he's an old man. He's a little older than I am. He's not as old as he looks. He's a little older than me actually, but he looks old. And he kind of sauntered over, and I played the first verse of this song. And he starts wandering away, so I called him back, and he listened to the second verse. But the meat of this song really is in the chorus, and I couldn't I couldn't hold him long enough to hear the chorus. But anyway, this is my theme song when I'm on the road, and I've traveled all around the United States playing my songs. Never been to Europe, never been to England yet playing my songs, but this is a little educational song. People say, you're a songwriter from Iowa. Tell us something about Iowa, and this is it. Well, I stood up on center stage to play my newest song. Everyone reacts like I was doing something wrong. Steve was on the bass, he'd played far more gigs than I. Softly whispered, if you gotta die, here we'll be just fine. He said, you must remember Clear Lake back in winter '59. The man named Buddy Holly played the guitar one last time. The one enduring image of him waving from the plane. After 60 years, the legend still remains. The image doesn't change. Rocky, Marciano, Grant, and Holly, that's just 3. If you die in Iowa, you're in good company. If you have to die in Iowa, it ain't no tragedy. Well, 50 wins and 50 fights is no other fighter's claim, but Rocky Marciano tried to fly him through the rain. Just outside of Newton, in an isolated field, with Willie Farrell's brother at the wheel, the record, it was sealed. This is the one most people don't know about. Ah, Judy, Judy, Judy was his most familiar line. At the Adler down in Davenport, they had him on at 9. Back at the hotel room, he sat coloring his hair. Cary Grant, completely unaware that fate would catch him there. Rocky, Marciano, Grant, and Holly, that's just 3. If you die in Iowa, you're in good company. If you have to die in Iowa, it ain't no tragedy. So fortified by history, I continued with my song till the whole damn room was empty. But regardless, I played on, 'cause the ghost of Marciano, of Holly, and of Grant almost seemed to guide my picking hand. You can call it my last stand. Rocky, Marciano, Grant, and Holly, that's just 3. If you die in Iowa, you're in good company. If you have to die in Iowa, it ain't no tragedy. If you die in Iowa, all the famous people that died in Iowa, and there's always these people that are, stop me at the end of these songs and come up with other names and said, add this guy, add this guy. I'm not going to. We're going to stay with Rocky Marciano, Buddy Holly, and Cary Grant. And not everybody that dies in Iowa are celebrities or known worldwide, And I mentioned last week. I'm going to play something new. I'm going to try at least. This song is like a week old, and you know how it is when I try to play new stuff. But I want to play this one. This one sounds a little like the last one too. So maybe if I talk for a little bit, we can forget about the last one a little bit. But I had mentioned last week that 3 of my high school classmates had passed away over the previous weekend. And as it turns out, I was wrong about that. It was 4. We lost 4 classmates in just a few days, people my peers and everything. And plus Larry Beringel, and I'm sure Randy knows him, local guitar player, same age as us, graduated from Tech in 1974. Hell of a nice guy, local guitar player and everything. All these people died like within a few days of each other. And plus Betty White, and Coach Williams, the legendary football coach from my high school, and all these people just going at the same time. But it was the loss of the classmates, and so a bunch of us, the old peers and stuff, we're all on the social networks talking about what happened and when's the last time we saw so-and-so and how, and all this. And it struck me that up until this week, when a bunch of us would be on social media talking to each other recently. You know how it is in the social media. We're just sniping at each other. It's all this damn politics and everything. And people are taking shots at each other. These are people we grew up with, some of our best friends and everything, really you know how it is, on opposite sides of the road completely and everything. And it took something like what we went through the last week or so to get everybody kind of on the same page, and then all of a sudden, we're all good friends again. So I guess that's the silver lining and all that. So I wanted to write this song. I may have said this about Larry Berengill too. Larry was a sweet guy, was a great musician, just a lovable guy. He's from the Philippines, and but he's a good guitar player, and but his politics were different from mine. And he did a lot of posting on the social media, and I didn't block him, but I dropped him. I dropped him as a friend and everything, because for one thing, I just didn't want to see his posts anymore, and the other thing is I didn't really want him to see my posts, because it gets to a point where it really impedes your relationship when people are reading these things, and it's just making it harder for you to like each other, and sometimes it's better if they don't see it. But Larry and I had actually bumped into each other at Farmers Market in September. We had a long, nice talk and everything. But anyway, this is what I came up with, and let me. Hopefully, I got this memorized. Had breakfast on Thursday since the Vietnam War. We agree upon nothing but the Super Bowl score. So Nixon and Carter and Reagan and Ford, we live for that crossing of swords. We've known each other for as long as we've lived. He was my best man, and then I was his. I was a scoutmaster, he coached my kids, and I'm grateful as hell that he did. And when they read the obits, no one's gonna care if you like Trump or Biden, who won it by a single hair. What really counts is that you chose to keep your friends peering in from the polar ends. You went to pieces when Mary took ill. The one who came through was your good buddy Phil. Regardless if you were a D or an R, the labels stretch only so far. And when they write the obits, no one's gonna care if you like Trump or Biden, who won it by a single hair. What really counts is that you chose to keep your friends peering in from the polar ends. And maybe I can take a dose of my medicine, facing in from the polar end. Do I still recognize my friends? When they read the obits, no one's gonna care if you like Trump or Biden, who won it by a single hair. What really counts is that you chose to keep your friends facing in from the polar ends. Or when they read the obits, no one's gonna care if you like Trump or Biden, who won it by a single hair. What really counts is that you chose to keep your friends facing in from the polar ends. Really counts is that you chose to keep your friends facing in from the polar ends. That's as good as can be expected for a brand new song. I wrote that last Monday. Randy had something to say. See if I can pull it up. Yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly. And as I say, it's friends against, thank you, Randy. Friends against friends. And just a minute here. Let's see what's going on. Sorry about this. I was got to check for emergencies. Sorry about this. Friends against friends, family against families. Heather, it's Heather. It's a voicemail from Heather. Hey, it's Heather, and I want to try you one last time regarding an online request for getting some financial help. And I was able to get you an approval, but I think you're like So go out and call me back, and I'll give you the details. Heather's going to get me some financial help. I don't know what kind of financial help I need, but I'm an old man. So let's see if I can get back to what I was doing. Okay. You know, I get these calls from all over, and I think, you know, this is going to be like Sony Records or something. Wanting to, like, I just heard that song on your live stream, and I want to sign you up for a 6-record deal and a tour and everything. But no, it's Heather wanting to give me some financial assistance, and I can't fault her, you know, because thank you, Heather, but I don't need it. Anyway, so that's that one, and you know, I imagine that after the shock of losing our 5 classmates and Betty White, and you know, I'll tell you this too. This summer, one of the places I played this summer is one of the places that I played Farmers Market way back in the 10 years ago. It's at Prairie City. You know, I like playing at Prairie City. It's a small farmer's market. It's nice to get out there. It's on the town square. It's just a wonderful place. And the guy that would show up every week, one of the people that show up every week was the chief of police would be out there. And he got the COVID last week. He died from it. You know, they're saying, well, people aren't dying from the COVID now. It's that Omicron strain. But Mark German, he died from it. You know, and I saw him. I was out there 5 or 6 times this summer. I saw him probably just about each time. Anyway, so you know they say hug your friends now, because you know you never know if you're going to see them again. But I'm not really big on the hugging and everything, so I'll give you a pass on. Don't come up and hug me. I don't need it. But keep that in mind, you know. Anyway, so much for the lecture, and going back to my originally scheduled broadcast. Song I wrote, I don't do too much about, you know, my day job for 35 years. This is one I wrote just at the outset, just as I was about to embark, and I was still in school and clinic and everything, getting ready. I got this letter from a guy at one of the prisons, and it changed all the facts and everything. This isn't his story, but anyway, this is a song that came up from that. Counselor, Maria's last letter said all of my hunches were true. I deed out the land, hell, I'd sell both my hands for high-priced attorney like you. Listen, if you don't believe such a senseless mistake could be made, you'd see it yourself, confined to this cell for 7,300 days. A high-priced attorney like you could convince Judge Luttrell that I was defending myself. I need a high-priced attorney like you to get me out of this hell. Counselor, Leroy McAndrew kept 2 loaded shotguns at home. On the 15th of May, he waited all day, 'cause he knew I'd be coming along. The counselor, I rapped at the door and I asked if Maria was there. Leroy just smiled, said she's having my child, as if I wasn't already aware. The counselor, I would have left if that thing wasn't aimed at my head. Lunch for my life, it came to a fight. Leroy McAndrew was dead. A high-priced attorney like you could convince Judge Luttrell that I was defending myself. I need a high-priced attorney like you to get me out of this hell. Counselor, Maria's last letter said she's ready to swear under oath. Make your report, we'll all go to court. We'll have Judge Luttrell by the throat. And down that same line, I got a meeting with the board at 3 today. I don't give it too much hope. They put me on the street a dozen times, never taught me how to cope. So I'll get a job, I'll keep a week or two, still come up $8 short. Then I'll do some things I know I shouldn't do, get myself put on report. I'm doing life on the installment plan. It all began with that nickel for B&E. Way back in '63, doing life on the installment plan. I'm here to stay, so I'm no longer counting the days. Oh, 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 oh. I did a couple years in juvenile before I took the bread man's van. Taken to the pen, I was still a child. In 16 months I left the man. It seems like I've been in and out of here. Every time I turn around, another meeting with the board at 3 today. Why don't they just keep me down? I'm doing life on the installment plan. It all began with that nickel for B&E. Way back in '63, doing life on the installment plan. I'm here to stay, so I'm no longer counting the days. Oh, 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 oh. I'm no longer counting the days. Oh, 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 oh. I'm no longer counting the days. Oh, 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 oh. Doing life on the installment plan. Got that one actually, again, my first year in that job, actually, way back in the mid-'80s, you know, and one of my classmates had gotten a job as a parole judge, you know, was, you know, basically sending people, you know, lining them up and sending them back to prison after they screw up when they're out. And he was mentioning somebody that we all knew, and he made the comment, well, this guy's doing life on the installment plan. And I'm thinking, that's a song, you know. And near the end of my so-called career, I was actually in a sentencing with one of the newer federal judges, and she was addressing a client who hadn't been in trouble before, and she gave him what we would consider a pretty damn long sentence, you know, anything over 10 days, anything over a night in jail. Hell, a night in jail's too much for me. But she was telling him, you know, you're not going to get a break like this again. A lot of people go in and they're doing life on the installment plan, and I see them again and again and again. I almost raised my hand and say, Judge, I've got a song, you know, but I didn't. I kept it quiet because I tried to keep the two worlds separate when I was in them, and so now I'm not in them anymore. But when I first went in there, here's one. I first went in there, and the very first time I went down to the state penitentiary by myself, you know, to visit clients, and it was before they built the beautiful new penitentiary. You know, this place is the oldest penitentiary west of the Mississippi River. It's spooky, and they're very slow in getting people to you, the clients and everything. So it'd be like 2 hours between clients, and so in the time between seeing my clients, I had like 4 of them to see. I drove all the way to Fort Madison, which was a long trek back then because they didn't have the nice highway they got now. And then it was probably 12 hours there to see 4 people. I came up with this. When you go to see your daddy at the big house, to say a few hellos and hold his hand, they put you in an open room with lots of folding chairs where all the women come to see their man. First, you see a room of hostile faces, of couples who would kill to be alone. Light blue shirts and blue jeans, facing halter tops and rouge. You never should have come here on your own. Keep your eyes on the floor. What goes on don't concern you till they unlock that door. Keep your eyes on the floor. Sometimes your attention gets to wandering to a couple at the far side of the room. He looks up and sees you, and there's murder in his glare, and it haunts you the entire afternoon. Keep your eyes on the floor. What goes on don't concern you till they unlock that door. Keep your eyes on the floor. Now they're patting down your daddy in the waiting room. He's smiling, he's lost a couple pounds. Best of all at this point, it's a place to fix your eyes, because before you were afraid to look around. Keep your eyes on the floor. What goes on don't concern you till they unlock that door. Keep your eyes on the floor. Keep your eyes on the floor. What goes on don't concern you till they unlock that door. Keep your eyes on the floor. Keep your eyes on the floor. I'll tell you, I was single back then. One thing that kind of creeps in your head, though, you go into the visiting room and you got your own room and everything, but there's all these people out there in the big area who don't get their own rooms, and they're the wives and stuff that show up with the kids to visit guys that are never ever going to get out of prison, and you start you start thinking, I should just hang out in the parking lot after they're done and see if I can meet one of these wives and everything, because this guy's never coming back, But because that would be wrong, as the White House people said during Watergate, that would be wrong. So we didn't do anything like that. But there's always that thought. So while we're on the subject, kind of. This one, basically the idea for this one came when we were, a few of us were playing shows out at the little park in DeSoto, because my friend, my high school classmate, was the mayor of DeSoto, and he brought us out to play. And so we put together a band, people who generally didn't play together, and I wanted to play some of my original stuff, so I tried to write stuff that people could pick up really quick. So what if I played a song where I was actually calling out the chord names as I was singing the song? That would help, wouldn't it? So I came up with this song, and I'll say, about Farmer's Market. One of my, I guess he is my friend, but that I met in my day job was the regional director for the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. And he would always go, he loved those Farm Boy burritos, and I was set up across from there. And I'd see him, I'd play this is like his theme song. He didn't want that. For one thing, they don't want you to recognize him. They don't want to be advertised. They want to be undercover all the time. And I was advertising him when I played this song. So I'd look down and I'd see him on his hands and knees crawling along past some of the booze and stuff, so hoping that I don't see him. But I did. And whatever I was playing, I'd stop and I'd play this song. Now there's somebody out there in a yellow Trans Am. I wasn't born Monday, I know it's the man. So there's somebody talking, and I can't even guess. I don't trust no one till I know who confessed. I got a problem with the DEA. Saw them digging through my trash today. Go out and tell them that I just don't play with the DEA. Now there's somebody with them. It's my cousin Phil that answers my questions, and I'm feeling ill. Now he's talking to me about making a buy. I know there's a wire, I just want to die. I got a problem with the DEA. Saw them digging through my trash today. Go out and tell them that I just don't play with the DEA. Now this agent is talking. He says it's time to come in. In the place I was brought up, to roll is a sin. He says everyone's with us. Don't you be the last. I say I'll answer your questions when you kiss my white. I got a problem with the DEA. Saw them digging through my trash today. Go out and tell them that I just don't play with the DEA. I got a problem with the DEA. Saw them digging through my trash today. Go out and tell them that I just don't play with the DEA. With the DEA. Go out and tell them that I just don't play with the DEA. The DEA. So, DEA. I just call that out, and all the musicians know what chord to play. You know, when I did when I did this at my 50th birthday show at the Playhouse, in the front row of the auditorium with Tina and Brandon Finley, Tina Haas and Brandon Finley, so I played this song. Before I played it, though, I told the story about using the names and everything to the chord names in the song, and I just played the chords, and I said, Tina, what chord is this? And she said D. And what's this? E. A. She's got it in her head. I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have that. I don't know, Randy, if you do. But I don't know. I can't just come up with a D, E, or an A or anything like that. So anyway, that's that song. This is the song. You know, I got married. I've been married now for it'll be 32 years this year. And so when I got married, I wrote some songs, you know, for the wedding, and I wrote some songs for the, you know, we had a group, Kindred Spirits. Robin Johns on piano. She had a harp player, and I don't know what the other woman did, maybe guitar or violin or something like that. And I wrote some songs for them, and then it was in a Catholic church, and the priest came back and said, well, you can't do love songs in church. You know, you can just do religious songs. So what I did is I wrote a version of the Song of Solomon, and they did that. But this is the song I'd written for them to play at the wedding, and they didn't do it. So anyway. I looked at you, I spoke to you, I remember that first hot day. I was sitting by the pool, you walked my way. Now you're standing at my side, and I can't believe it's true. Look how much in love we are. I can't believe we've come this far from that summer day. I looked at you, that casual glance you shared with me changed the course of our history. Up till then, my eyes had never seen what a treasure love can be. Now you're standing at my side, and I can't believe it's true. Look how much in love we are. I can't believe we've come this far from that summer day. I looked at you. My song for my 1990 wedding, 31 and a half years ago, June 9th. But they didn't play it. Can't play love songs in a Catholic church because it's not all about love, you know. But you know, anyways, let's stop on that, and then go on to the next one. The next one, you know this because this song is the highlight of my show. You know, one thing I don't know if Linda and Rick or anybody has ever heard the story behind this song. You know, I always say it's the highlight of my show, and people, you know, if they're walking by on the street, they'll come in and listen. Whatever I do after that, they get up and leave because everything after that is downhill all the way. Story behind this song, though, is my aunt Ann. She got married. She's like the Princess Margaret of my mother's family. She got married later in life, And actually, she got married on my 18th birthday back in 1974. And maybe the day before. I think it was right on my birthday. Doesn't matter. She married a guy named Joe Butt. You know, and it's a terrible thing because my Aunt Pat, she married Dick Thompson's. So I have an uncle that's a Dick and an uncle that's a Butt. You know, but anyway, they're both gone now. Great guys. Dick was one of my good friends, and Joe was a hell of a guy who went a few years ago. But at any rate, but Joe, he drank. He liked beer, like Neil Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court Justice. I like beer. Well, Joe liked beer. He drank a lot of beer, and he was kind of known for that. Like to have, they live in Worcester, Massachusetts. He said, I like to have a pop. Yeah, I like to have a pop every once in a while. And he was a butcher for the Big D supermarket chain there in Worcester. And one night Joe came home from work, and he was a little late, and the car was totaled. You know, Ann came out, and the car was total. I go, what the hell happened, Joe, with the car? And Joe said, well, I was coming home. And she goes, you been drinking? No, I'm not drinking. I got hit by a train. You got hit by a train? Yeah, I got hit by well, I'm glad you're alive, Joe. Big hug, you know. They like to hug. And that was the thing with Ann at the time. She worked in a law office. She worked for a lawyer. So she went in the next day and told the lawyers, you know, my Joe, you know, Joe Butt, he got hit by a train yesterday. And his car did, and it totaled the car. And the lawyer said, you know, they may have a cause of action there. You may take that to court. And so Ann says, well, great. So one of the lawyers, you know, they went out to the scene where Joe said he got hit by the train, and he did some investigation. And what the investigation turned up was that there had not been a train on those tracks in that place for probably 20 years. So Joe is in worse trouble than he would have been if he would have come right out and confessed, you know. He was in deep shit, you know. And Joe still wouldn't give up on the train story. I mean, he's still talking about the train, you know, hitting him. But Joe, you know, there hasn't been a train on those tracks for 30 years. So Joe is just in a doghouse. And, you know, even with Ann, you know, who just stood by her man all the time, she just, you know, Joe was in trouble. But anyway, the rest of the story, so Joe just kind of settled into his role in the doghouse, and, you know, wore the crown of shame or whatever it was. And but I don't know who it was. I think it might have been one of the lawyers in Ann's office and everything. Happened to be just driving by that same spot maybe 6 months later. And what did he see? He saw a train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, you can't tempt fate. Where have you been? Sad and lucky since 10:15, waiting for you, when just last month I watched all my dreams come true. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, yeah, Linda, oh. Don't say a word, 'cause I can't fall for a lie I haven't heard. Even from you, I just close my eyes and tell myself it's true. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, you can't tempt fate. There's always a train, that's right. always a train. I'm not so blind, but I wasn't born to be lonely all the time. Maybe it's true, I still keep smiling, but all my nights are blue. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. No, babe, I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, there's always a train. You know, one song that I won't play today because I can't. I didn't play that one by ear. I actually brought the music in for it, for that show in 2006 for my 50th birthday show. I had this instrumental. When I first got out of school, you know, I was kind of leery about doing this. You know, going out and playing original songs and everything solo, going against everything I believed in, really. But so I was scared to death to do it. So, but what I did early on is I played instrumental. I wrote a bunch of instrumentals. I got on the roster for Jazz in July, which was a 30-day, a month-long jazz festival in Des Moines, where they had a different jazz show every day of the month in a different location. And I managed to get a show actually at the Capitol Square, which turned out to be several years later turned out to be the building that I worked in. But at any rate, I got a show there, and so I had written a couple instrumental pieces, and then I did the audition and I passed. So I had to write an hour and a half worth of instrumental pieces. And one of them I wrote was a piece it was about 10 minutes long, called "The Speech at the Wall," and it was in honor of President JFK, and it was about, you know, the speech when the Berlin Wall came down, the speech that President Kennedy would have given if he was still alive, if he hadn't been shot on November 22nd, 1963. So I wrote that, and maybe next year when we're approaching the 60th anniversary of that horrible day, maybe I'll memorize it, or I'll at least put it in a shape where I could play it at some point. But you know, the instrumentals are over my head a little bit. Anyway, but I did bring it to and I practiced it up, and I did do it in my 50th birthday show 16 years ago. The other piano song that I did is this one, and you're familiar with it because this is the one I usually play after that one, the one I just played. And a song I wrote in 1978. Wrote a lot of good songs in 78 for whatever reason, various reasons. A lot of good ballads, including this one. Almost got picked up, almost got recorded, and fortunately for me it didn't, because I can play it. Can't play The Other Side of Your Heart, but I can play this one. And I've told you the story before. I never told the story about who it was about, who I'd written it for, until the 50th birthday show at the Playhouse 16 years ago. There's that show, and I looked down, and there's about 110 people there altogether. It was a pretty good turnout, and I looked down, and I saw this woman, you know, silver hair and wire rim glasses, you know, grandmotherly type, and I recognized her as, you know, I hadn't seen her maybe twice or three times in the past, you know, whatever it was. I was 50, so it would be about 30 years since I'd seen her, and so I told the story, and there's only two people in the room that knew that the person I was talking about was actually sitting there listening. Reaching inside for the me I didn't know, to close up old sores, open new doors, if only to capture a view from the outside, looking in. It was clear, it was fair, it was true. I saw nothing, I saw one thing, I saw you, and the good you could do through the eyes of a fool. It was fair, it was true. It's a glass reflection of love so clear that the questions are gone and the answers appear. What I need, where to go, what to do, it all points to you. The dark days and the gray days are behind. I can stand now, I can plan now that I find what I need, where to go, what to do, it all points to you. It all points to you. This is a song, you've all heard it, you know. Thank you, Fred. I got the idea for this song came when I was mowing my lawn one day. I have 2 acres. No, I don't have 2 acres. What the hell? I got half an acre. It takes me 2 hours to mow it, though. And I started mowing it. The hook line for this song came into my head. And I thought, well, that's clever. That's a song. And so by the time I got done mowing, I had the whole song in my head. Went upstairs, went in the house. My wife says, I got dinner on the table. I said, I can't. I got to run upstairs and write this down before I do anything else. Well, we all know the tale of the young Spanish prince living in exile in a house so immense that he puts up to help in a village of tents, charges exorbitant rents. When the king passed away quite mysteriously, the young Spanish prince took it personally, ranting and raving from midnight to 3, blaming the death on the queen. Oh, the hall is half full, the mood is intense. Soon a somber address from the young Spanish prince. He spits out the words and they seem to make sense. Está o no está, eso es la pregunta. This all may hold a familiar ring, but if you're the prince, it's a serious thing. You lay awake, contemplate, how does one bring revenge for the death of the king? Oh, the hall is half full, the mood is intense. Soon a somber address from the young Spanish prince. He spits out the words and they seem to make sense. Está o no está, eso es la pregunta. Now your girlfriend Ophelia is still standing loyal, though you took out her brother with a poison-dipped foil. The tragedy is the reward for her toils is to sleep under 6 feet of soil. On an invalid artistic license, I drove him from Denmark to Spain, where the young prince, he made such a show of himself, I won't even mention his name. Oh, the hall is half full, the mood is intense. Soon a somber address from the young Spanish prince. He spits out the words and they seem to make sense. Está o no está, eso es la pregunta. Oh, the hall is half full, the mood is intense. Soon a somber address from the young Spanish prince. He spits out the word and they seem to make sense. Está o no está, eso es la pregunta. Está o no está, eso es la pregunta. What is that about? Most of you know because you've heard me go through it before. Está o no está. To be or not to be, aesolus la pregunta. Shakespeare. Wow, been watching Shakespeare lately. I'm trying to watch all the Academy Award films, the ones that are likely to get them, and I saw the one about Princess Diana last night. I don't know, Terry, if you've watched that, or, Belfast, beautiful film, Belfast. That's not England, though, that's Ireland, but it's UK. And, the story about Kenneth Branagh's childhood. Boy, I watched that twice, partially because I can't stay awake through movies, so I have to watch them twice. Now, two of the movies that are might be considered for Best Picture are Shakespeare plays. What are they? What are the two Shakespeares that are likely to get Academy Awards? One of them, Macbeth. I watched that. I have to say, I tried. I can watch Hamlet. And that song is based on Hamlet. I can watch Hamlet. I can watch Julius Caesar. I've seen Denzel Washington on Broadway playing I think Mark Anthony or Brutus, one of the two, about 15 years ago on Broadway. I can understand that, but boy, Macbeth pretty much flew right over my head. But that's one, and then the other one is what? What's the other Shakespeare play that's likely to get a Best Picture nomination and Best Director nomination and maybe Best Supporting Actress and everything? A couple of Best Supporting Actresses, maybe. Who is it? Which one is it? West Side Story. Romeo and Juliet. Anyway, that's what that is. West Side Story is Romeo and Juliet, just set to, different names and everything. The Capulets and the Montagues, of the Sharks and the Jets, and what the hell. But anyway, a lot of UK in the movies right now that I don't know, Terry, if you're seeing them or not, or if you know anything about them, but we'll see what happens with that. And that one about Diana, the one thing I have to say, that guy that I can't remember that name of that Stahl. I love him. The guy that plays the head butler. He's been around forever. I can't remember his name and everything, but whatever. The rest of the movie, I don't know. I couldn't stay awake for it, but I stayed awake for Belfast the second time. Anyway, this next song I wrote two settings, 9 years apart. I wrote the first setting in a hotel room, first verse and refrain in a hotel room in Indianapolis when I was on the road with Baby Lester and the Buggy Bumpers in May of 1977. Wrote the second verse in the bridge in a hotel room in Southfield, Michigan in 1986, in June, I think it was. Pretty much a true story. A turn in the road brought me further from home. Another trip out on my own. Just 30 miles west of the Illinois line, I offered a woman a ride. Her English was rough, so I told her, you must be from some other faraway place. It's true, she agreed, I'm just drifting, you see. I'm just heading back home from the States. To Montreal, I could see it all in her Canadian eyes. The lights in the skies over Montreal, her Canadian eyes. 11 years later, back in my car on another trip out to the coast. Northern New Hampshire, the thought grabbed my heart. The dream was now suddenly closed. The dream was a seed she had planted in me on that day back in 75. As I come to expect, I was robbed of my breath at the end of that 5-hour drive to Montreal. see it all in her Canadian eyes. The lights in the skies over Montreal, her Canadian eyes. Leaving again felt a whole lot like leaving a lover. It's true in a way. I took one last look back and I told her I'd come here again. Maybe next time I'll stay in Montreal, Montreal. I could see it all in her Canadian eyes. The lights in the skies over Montreal, her Canadian eyes. Montreal. Look at this. I'm about out of time. I had about 3 more I wanted to do. Maybe I'll do this one more time. I think I've got enough songs that were left behind. I think I could squeeze one more dinner hour live stream out of them, so I'll probably do that next week. And then the week after that, February 1st, I'll be tracking through my CD from 2020, Badass Storm 2020, because that's the day that Badass Storm 2020 is released to the digital streaming. You know, it's released to Apple and iTunes and well, that is Apple and all the others, Spotify, and there's a bunch of them, YouTube and everything else. So I'll be doing that. It's already available for pre whatever the heck that means. You can pre-order it or something. Most of you already have it, but I'll be playing through Badass Storm 2020 in 2 weeks. This next song, my final song, is off of that. I always I'll put on the social media because KICI in Iowa City, you know, they're very good about a couple things. You know, we've got a couple radio stations in Iowa that are very good about playing local music. We've got KFMG here in Des Moines. We got KICI in Iowa City, and they every day from 11 to 1 they play nothing but regional music, Iowa music. And the one thing they do is they post their playlist the day before, so you know when you're going to get played. And I know tomorrow at 12 o'clock, you know, they're going to play it. They're going to do an hour from 11 to 12. And from the 12 to 1 hour, the very first song they're going to play is my closing song, and I'm going to play it now. So thank you for listening today. I appreciate it, and have a good rest of the week. I've been doing this for all of my life. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Terry. The one thing I know, and it's brought me to a few hidden corners of the globe. Now I'm sailing into that stage in life, started taking it slow. But I still dream the dream, doubt I'll ever let it go. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a constipated man, all I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. This Martin in my hands. Thank you, Linda. On a little bench on 2nd and Grand sits a man with a horn. He's been playing there since almost a year I was born. And it used to be a joke with my friends, I would wind up like him. Now I see him and I realize how lucky he's been. I'll play where I can play some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hand. It's not the best thing for my health. I'm not acquiring great wealth, but I go on because I owe it to myself. I'm not reaching for the stars. Things will stay the way they are, but I keep plugging, though I may never get that far. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands, I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands. Thank you very much. Thank you. As Jackson Browne would say, thank you, Grand Rapids.